Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Pop Culture Chat, where we just go over some of the things that are going on in pop culture of the day and we talk about them. If you like what you see, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. Listen, we're going to go over a couple of things in Pop Culture Chat. Number one, I want to go over this. Let me share my screen. I'm going to be pulling most of my information from TikTok, and then we'll roll over to X, and that's where we're going to get all our info from. So let me, excuse me, let me share my screen. All right. So the first thing is that apparently the Republicans are rolling out their new health care plan. Haven't had a chance to look over, but this creator has looked over it, and let's hear what she has to say about it.
Millions of people. Everybody ready to get an OF page? Because you're going to need that shit next year for your healthcare insurance. So Republicans have rolled out their new healthcare plan. And baby, it's a shit show. The ACA subsidies are gone. They expire at the end of this month. And they are not in their new healthcare plan. And the ACA premium tax credits help millions of people keep health insurance affordable. Now, I know y'all saying, what the fuck is actually in their plan? Because this is the first time they actually had one. Let me break that shit down for you. So one, they have the Association Health Plan, which basically means that small businesses can band together to get health insurance, making it cheaper for their employees. But what they don't tell you is these plans do not follow ACA rules. They offer cheaper premiums by skipping out on actual coverage, which means everything that was covered under the Affordable Care Act will not be covered under these plans. So you will be paying more out of pocket for mental health, maternity, and prescriptions. They can charge you based on your age and your health.
So people are freaking out, but let me explain to you all, for those of you all that are old enough to understand. This is how health insurance was before the Affordable Care Act. See, before the Affordable Care Act, it was supposed to be these pools that these companies could go into, and you had a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, we were able to get health care from our employer, and da 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 this and da 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 that." You were, and that would be the only place that you could get it because it depended on the pool. Because some states had great pools. Now, if you lived in southern states, you didn't have great pools. All right, because what was happening is uh they were deciding what they were going to cover. So, for instance, one of the things that would happen is if you were a single woman and you got pregnant, on a lot of these insurance plans, and I know in the South, they wouldn't cover you. So you would have to go to the state, get the Medicaid that covered pregnancy, so that you can be covered when you have your baby. Now, once you've had your baby, they would cover your baby and they'd cover you for anything else. What was happening was, and I'm just using this pregnancy part as an example, if you change jobs, your new job would, because your pregnancy was a pre-existing illness, they wouldn't cover you for that. So in other words, so it would be like you would have to have that insurance. Some insurance was 270 days. Some insurances was 366 days. And then some insurances wouldn't cover you for 570 days. So if you moved on a new job, and let's say that you're a single woman and you got married and you go on your new job with your new husband, if you were on that job that didn't cover you for they weren't going to even look at cover your pregnancy, you're going to have to pay out of pocket. And a lot of things were like that. Your premiums would be high. Your employer would offset a certain amount of that, which is good, but they didn't offset. So a lot of things weren't covered. So like if you had, and this is particularly, and I'm just speaking from a woman's perspective, I don't know how they were doing with men. I know that I had a pre-existing situation that I had to use at one point in my life. I had to use birth control pills. I wasn't using birth control pills to to stop pregnancy, I was using birth control pills to regulate the cycle. They didn't cover that. And they didn't cover it because the insurance that I had with the previous employer, they didn't cover it because I was a single woman. Because at that time, the company that I worked for, one of their they were organized by some religious group, and so you couldn't get birth control as a single woman. You could get it as a married woman, but you couldn't get it as a single woman. So I'm just looking at those perspectives, and I know that with a lot of illness. So if you had high blood pressure, diabetes, if you had some kind of congenital illness or anything like that, those are pre-existing illnesses, and your employer had the right to say, we're not going to cover that. And that was supposed to be the difference with the ACA, that everybody was supposed to get into the insurance. But again, and it's my thing, this is my view, Pam from Pam Entertainment TV. It's nobody else's view. The problem with that was when during that time that Obama was president, and he had the House and the Senate. The Senate wanted to push some things through, but Nancy Pelosi, being part of the representatives, wanted to wait until after the election, and then everybody on that, the Democrats lost the House. I think they lost the House or the Senate, one of them. So a lot of those things that would have made the ACA stronger, they weren't able to push it through. And so when the Republicans got in, they just started hatcheting and hatcheting and hatcheting and hatcheting away at it, because there was a requirement, if I remember, that they wanted to get as many people on insurance. And so they were helping you with subsidies, and they were trying to get people on the insurance and things like that. But you had a lot of people upset because it was like, if they didn't get the insurance, then they were paying like a fee or something like that, or a penalty. And people heard penalty and went and lost their minds. But they lost their minds, and then it all just kind of went to bat stuff. Again, those things that I thought that would strengthen the bill, Nancy Pelosi wouldn't talk about it, wouldn't go over it. They wanted to go over some other things and stuff like that, and then that just kind of fell through the wayside. So again, you voted for this. This is what you voted for. It's going to be interesting to see, because I went back through there. So it's unaffordable for me, because I think when I looked at the insurance cost on there, the lowest thing that you have, and again, they've taken the subsidies away, was like $1,250 per month plus your copay. And then you had an out of pocket of $10,600. So they've made it unaffordable for a reason. And now the businesses, and which I never could understand, because everybody was encouraging the businesses to get their people into the marketplace. Get your people into the marketplace, but they wouldn't do that. But so now a lot of people are going to be stuck, especially a lot of people are going to be stuck, especially those of you all that have these illnesses that require to get compound medications done. And those compound medications are not cheap. You all are going to have to pay a bigger portion of that. A lot of it's going to be a lot. You can't get certain things. You're going to have to pay a certain amount before you can get a certain thing. It's going to be just as complicated as it was prior 2006 backwards. Your insurance is going to be as complicated as it was, if not more, because now you have people, you have religious organizations and things like that trying to dictate what you can be insured under and what you cannot be insured under. And so for women's health, that's going to be an issue, and that's going to be a problem, because you all have made women's health a political issue in regards to terminations of pregnancy, in regards to taking birth control, in regards to women getting gynecological care, OBGYN care. You've made all of that political. So it's going to be difficult because people are like, oh, you're just being hyperbolic. No, I'm not being hyperbolic. You see women dying now because they're in the middle of miscarrying or they're in the middle of losing a baby, and the doctors will not do anything until the women are sepsis. And by that time, they've got to, not only do they have to remove the dead fetus, they're probably going to have to, these doctors now don't take care about anything. Not only are they going to have to remove the dead fetus, they're going to remove your uterus as well. Because it's one thing to want to want to be fixed, sterilized, excuse me. But it's a whole nother thing for somebody who is wanting to have children, and then something happens in the midst of their pregnancy that they have to be almost dead or damn near die in order for anything to happen. But y'all voted for this. Y'all voted for this. Y'all voted for this. You vote for what you can live with. That's the way I look at it. Vote for what you can live with. I wanted to share this really quick because this just was on my heart on when I was hold on. Let me just explain y'all something to you. These food boils have us in a chokehold. I done seen not only the seafood, I've seen the chicken, the cabbage, the collard, the beef boil. Someone even talked about a chittling boil. These boils have y'all in the choke. Everything does not require if you to have a boil. And I need for us to stop. I need us to stop. Everything doesn't require for us to have some kind of make it into some kind of boil. We just take things just a little too far. Just a little too far. This is a story. Hold on. Let me put this up here. This is a story that has been floating on TikTok. There was a TikToker named Riziki Ilingri, but she went by Rizzy is what she went by. Well, this young lady
now that is
pruned herself from the timeline on a live. She called out 3 people that had been bullying her, 3 people's names, and then she pruned herself from the timeline. And this is a story that has been coming through. It's been big on TikTok. What I want to do, there is a creator on here who had, I think that was her. That was a creator on here who has like pretty much the background story and stuff like that on this. I want to make sure that I have it. I may or may not, but it encompassed a lot of people on TikTok, and it has started to really pull out a couple of things in which I want to kind of talk about. Not only did these people bully her, but ladies, there's a side of TikTok that they call messy talk. And let me explain to you, and this is how I understand and I know why a lot of us, particularly in my age group, and I'm talking about 35 to 55, you all are not satiated or satisfied in your lives. So you come on TikTok or any of these social media platforms, particularly TikTok, because you have the ability in real time to interact with each other. You all come on these social media platforms and you cut the damn fool. And for a lot of us, particularly when we talk about, there are women that are girls, and then there are women who are not girls, and then you have women who are bullies. And what does bullying look like with women? And this is what it looks like with women. There is a creator on here. I'm not going to call the woman's name. I'm definitely not going to get you all to go to this page, but she was incessantly bullying this young lady. This young lady was in her 20s. The woman that was bullying her is in her 50s. See, she was playing this mother role to get information from this girl. And this girl, and this is these parasocial relationships. This girl thought she could confide in this woman, or she talked to this woman. She thought she could confide in this woman. You know what she did? She claims that she didn't believe, because this young girl talked about an essay that happened with her, with her therapist or someone who was a counselor to her. This woman decides she didn't believe her, or whether she believed her or not, she thought it was okay to go have dinner and lunch with this man and this man's wife. And it was all to signal her to this girl to say, see, I can get to anybody that you can get to. There was another incident of a guy who braids hair, who was milking money from her. This is how it's being played out on TikTok. So I just will tell you, you have to go to the separate different just put in Rizzy, and you'll see all of that to come down. But what I want to talk about is the fact that those of us ladies that have some sense, and we are out here on TikTok or whatever platform that you are, make sure that you are being a safe haven. Make sure that you're being a safe haven, because this little group of folks have caused enough turmoil on here. And then we get a bad rep. We get a bad rep. We get a bad rep of being bullies or anything like that. We get a bad rep. And I think it's so important for those of us that shine to go ahead and continue to shine, and to call out these people too. That's the second thing that I want us to do, is to call out these people. Don't wait till something like this happens. Don't wait to this young lady losing her life before you want to call something out. You see it going down in here. You see it going down. Be a safe haven. Be a safe haven. And if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Don't egg it on. When you hear the bullying and stuff like that going on in these lives, report these lives. Report them. Not only report the lives, report the people who are doing the bullying in these lives. You can report these comments. That is when it's a great thing to report these lives. When you actually hear and see the comments and the bullying, report all of that. Well, Pam, people should have thicker skin. Yeah, people, and folks in hell want ice water. That's the phrase that my folks used to tell me all the time. We can profess what we believe is a perfect world all we want to. But just like there are people who are strong-minded, but strong mind, of strong mind, there are people who are of weak mind. And it is our job not to take advantage or push down on those that we believe that are of weak mind. Okay? So I found that to be, this was really, really sad for me to hear that this young lady took her life, and she took her life because of bullying. And then the last words that she uttered on a live was to name her bullier. So if the police, make sure that you all investigate it. I understand that a lot of these people live in different states. I hope the FBI gets involved. I hope that this is made a test case, because we got to do better. Black folks, we got to do better than this, because I am so upset and I'm so mad, and I have some shame, because these are black women. These are black women bullying younger black women. You're supposed to be lifting them up and mentoring, but you're bullying them to the point that they want to commit they want to prune themselves from the timeline. We got to start calling these people out. Because these are the same people that have gotten away, because they sound like I was trying to remember this platform that I was on. It was short-lived, because you remember Periscope. And then when they were talking about Periscope was leaving, there was this other platform that I was on where it was set up a little bit like TikTok, where you're on the platform and then people were on a panel and they were talking back and forth to each other. I can't think of what that platform was. If you remember it, put it down here. I don't think it was Speaker, but I don't remember what the name of that platform, because it was so short-lived. Because then everybody was going to Instagram, then everybody from Periscope, people did they went to this platform, and then they went to YouTube, and then Instagram, and then when Instagram Live became big and you could do that, people just kind of just folded over to Instagram Live, and then TikTok came on the scene a few years later. So anyway, meanwhile, this was this type of behavior. There was this group of women on there. They come into different, and I don't know what they called it on that platform, but I'm going to say live just because I can't remember what it is. But they would come into that platform, and it'd be a group of people you would follow, and everybody would in there. And it was a lot of camaraderie going on. Everybody was talking, but then there would be these group of women that would come into this, to the live, or to the little thing. And when you were on this platform, everybody was big about meeting up. We're going to meet up. We're going to do this. We're going to meet up. We're going to do this. Everybody was good for that. But I can't remember what this one, but I remember that she lived somewhere up in the DMV area. And she had some issues, some mental health issues. And she would get on this platform and she would literally look everybody up and find out if she could find anything about this person that she was looking up to. Like if her and let's say her name was Jane and she was fighting with Sally, or she had a disagreement with Sally, or Sally was getting more attention than Jane was getting, right? Jane would go on the internet, find all of Sally's profiles, go through all of her things. So if Sally had a Facebook, she would go through all the Facebook. She would go through her Facebook friends and all this other stuff. Then she would come back and tell everybody anything and everything that she could find out about Sally on Facebook. And they carried that same stuff to the YouTube. And at first it was like, dog, how did she do that? But then you started seeing the incentive. Then people started doxing these people's addresses and stuff like that. And again, when you're in a group when you're in this and stuff, and it just got to the point where I was like, oh, these people are messy. And I mean, it's one thing because you follow one person because they would be the person giving you the Real Housewives news. Because I used to watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta back the first 3 years that it came on. So this was somewhere around that. No, it wasn't. It was back. Yeah, it was back this day. Because there was a group about Scandal, I remember. And there was a group about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I want to say the Real Housewives of, was it DC? Was it 2015? The Real Housewives of the District. Remember when the people walked into the Obama thing? You remember that? It was somewhere around up in there. Anyway. I think it was in there. We were talking about it. I don't know if it was around that time, but anyway, You had those group of people, and then you started, and then when people started seeing, because when they moved from that particular app and they all started moving to YouTube, and YouTube was having lives, or Instagram was having lives, when they moved and migrated to there, they started seeing a following, they started getting a following, and YouTube started paying them, so they started continuing doing this mess, and it just got to be messy, 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 messy. A lot of those people got kicked off of YouTube, but I see that the idea of the whole thing has migrated over to TikTok. So shout out to, rest in peace, young lady. I hope her family pursues this. I hope her family pursues this. I want to go over this particular article real quick. I saw this yesterday, and it just floored me. Now, this is about tow truck drivers. Now, this particular tow truck driver has been arrested, and he has been charged with child neglect. Look what happened. And let me see if I can make sure that we start on the right. We start at this at the beginning.
A car being towed turned into a nightmare for a man in Florida.
It happened in just seconds. A man in Sunrise, Florida was waiting for his food in a restaurant when just outside, this tow truck backs up and tows away his car. He runs outside, banging on the window, yelling that his 4-year-old daughter is still in the car. The dad chasing the tow truck, yelling for the driver, Sergio Suarez, to stop.
Oh, his kid in there.
But court documents say Suarez did not stop. That prompted the girl to jump out of the moving car and into the middle of the road. Her father says he ran into traffic to grab her. Police body cam video shows the tow truck driver later being taken into custody and the father being handed back the keys to the car.
Is she okay? No? Yeah, she's good, yeah.
His lawyer claims Suarez checked the car 3 times before towing it. He's now charged with child neglect.
The girl suffered minor injuries to her arms and her leg. A dispute over a car being towed.
I hope that little girl is okay. I know how that was probably scary for her to know the car was moving and her dad was not in the car. I know how scary that was for her. But this leads me into my my little rant about these tow truck drivers, because this is not the first time that I have heard or seen this. This happened up I think this happened in Florida, but there was another time when it happened up in it was up north. I don't know where it was, but it's same type of scenario. They went in to get something. It was food or something. They went in real quick to get the food. They come back out, and the guy had towed the car, and the baby was in the car, and they didn't find out that the baby was in the car until he got to the tow yard. And because you can't tow cars, from my understanding, if there's somebody in the car, you can't tow the car. It has to be empty. And so you didn't check that car, because thank goodness that there was somebody who was recording this. I think I have another thing. Here it is. I think I have another.
My kid, oh, his kid in there. My kid, oh, his kid in there. Oh, they got him.
See how he just rolled up? Where did he?
Ooh. Girl, my kid, oh, his kid in there.
So this baby is scared.
All done? Face that way. What? They're going to explain it all to you in just a second. All right. Who's the car?
You said there was a kid in the car, so don't say nothing. They asked you to stay quiet. That's
So you see that from different angles, because there was somebody who was recording. Thank goodness he was recording, because he was so fascinated how fast they were coming to get these cars now. And he was like, his kid's in there. That man didn't check. Did you see him check? He didn't check. You swooped down. You saw the man get out of the car. You swooped down. And you pulled that car out of the parking lot, and you zoomed away. And that baby was scared. That baby was scared and jumped out of that doggone car. So let me just say this. You all be good to do your job, but do your job, particularly when jobs like this could get you in the point of that children are involved. Because it's one thing if you're towing this car because this owner didn't pay the bill like they were supposed to pay the bill. That's a whole nother situation, right? That's a whole nother situation. But you didn't do that. You didn't check that car to see if anybody was in the car. And it looks like you were following that car because there's no way that you would have known that they were going to be in that particular spot unless you were following them. Because, you know, these new cars now have GPS tags or something like that on them. So when you don't pay what you need to pay, they'll do that GPS tag on you and they'll roll up on you. Usually they'll try to roll up on you at your home, because a lot of this moving the car to different places and they not seeing the car and stuff like that doesn't work anymore because they have those GPS tags. And once they click and say that that's that tag, they'll pull through there in a minute and get your car. But again, they can't tow a car unless it's empty. It has to be empty. And he towed that car with that baby in the car and that baby jumped out. I surely hope they sue that tow truck service. So, sir, you may have a free car. You can get that tow truck service to pay whatever you owe on that car and be through. But again, these tow truck drivers are out of control. There was another story that I saw in this. It was about HOAs having a homeowners insurance, homeowner association, and how homeowners associations were doing things beyond their scope. So they had this, and it was in Florida. Florida is a different. Florida almost operates like a totally different country. So a lot of places that you live in Florida have homeowners associations, and they have all of these rules, but you have to pay for all of this. And basically what you're paying is for lawyers. I think this is a way that lawyers can get paid without really doing a maximum amount of work. I mean, it's even to the point, like if you paint your house a certain color that's not in the design of the home of the association, they can fine you. They can even send you to take you to court, and you could lose your home by that mess. You can also lose your home if you don't pay your homeowners association dues. A mess. The reason why I brought this up and talked about tow trucks is because a specific homeowners association was going around to people's cars, and I guess they were in conjunction with this tow truck company. These people will come up on your property and check to see if your tags are valid. And if your tag wasn't valid on your car, they would tow your car away. So for instance, if your tag is due in March, right? And it's April 1st, because some people wait, depending on how they get paid, they'll wait till April 1st. Because I've done that, wait till April 1st. You get like a $3 or $4 penalty or whatever, and you pay it. But this homeowners association was allowing for tow truck drivers to walk up on your property if they saw that your tag was expired, if they saw or if they looked and saw that your tag was a little crooked, whatever it was something they were towing your car, and then you were having to pay to get your car out of impoundment in their center. Just a racket. A racket. And so it was like these tow truck drivers had all this power. So when somebody stopped them and called the police, they're like, "Oh, we can do this." And then the police was like, "No, you can't. You can't walk up in there. There's nothing. You can't, even if the homeowners insurance association told you, you can't walk on somebody's property. It's one thing if the car was in the road, but you can't walk up onto somebody's property to look behind at their tag and then tow their car. You can't do that. Not when it's on their property." And so These tow truck drivers are out of control. Out of control. Online bullying is out of control. Out of control. For parents with children, I wanted to find that story, but I don't think I saved that story. I didn't save that story, but I do want to make you parents aware that several states are suing or getting their district attorney, their attorney general, excuse me. They're getting them, and they're all coming up, and I do believe pretty soon that there will be a class action lawsuit against Roblox, because they're saying that Roblox is a gaming app that a lot of PDF files are going in and grooming your children. Because what I understand from Roblox is, and this is how you have a lot of people that make a lot of money from Roblox. From what I understand with Roblox, it's like games within a game. And so you can go into Roblox, and there's like several different types of games going on. And if you're somebody who is a gamer and you can create a game and you have your own server, you can create a game in the server. You can have people pay you, I guess, like for the little trinkets or something, the Roblox bucks or whatever it is that they do. And a lot of people are making a lot of money in that realm. Well, since people are making money in that realm and they're independent, and I'm calling them independent contractors, I don't know exactly what the word is. You have people creating games, and then you have people who are in those games creating those games, and they're using these games to lure your children and to groom your children. They're in chat rooms because all of these games have chat rooms. Once again, a lot of these games have chat rooms, or they have the ability to talk to each other in these games. And so if you're monitoring, you'll hear your kids talking to another kids. But what's concerning to me now, and this is why I've said to you all before about AI, what's concerning to me is AI now has the ability to mimic any voice. So you think that your children are talking to other children, and they're not. So I wanted to make you parents aware that if you've got a child that is playing Roblox, please make sure that you're in there listening to see what they're saying and what's going on in these games. Because it's not just, it's my gamers, y'all help me with the thing. It's not just like you buy the game and then you play the game and then you win at the game. Now it's just like Call of Duty, how all these people can go in and play Call of Duty with each other and stuff like that. Roblox is similar to that. And you got to be careful about what your kids and who your kids are listening and talking to. Just like I've said before many years ago, because I remember my nephew was little and he would watch, they would have the YouTube. And you remember how YouTube would have like YouTube Kids? And I think they still have it. And I think that they beefed it up. But what was happening is the imagery wasn't matching the song. I never forget, there was this song about it wasn't Hickory Dickory Dock, but it was something about something going onto the bed, then going to the clock, da 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 da, and something. I don't know what it is, but it just kept repeating. It just kept repeating, and I kept watching my nephew watch it. And then when I looked at it, the image was showing like monkeys. When they get on the bed, they then turn to skeletons, and then they go to the clock, and then they turn into look like little demons or whatever. But the song was very pleasant. It was this little rhythm was very pleasant, but the imagery wasn't pleasant at all. And I don't know how they got past that. But the song was singing one way. So the song was like la 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 la. When you look at the imagery, you got monkeys being dying on the bed, and then they're going to the clock or something. It was just something. And I just remember seeing that, and then I kept hearing things like that. Yeah, YouTube has having a lot of problems, and I remember they kind of cleaned it up. Now this was like 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. 2015 to 2017, they had this big old overhaul about what you can see, and that they stopped where you can chat in those things, and they were looking at the images and stuff like that the kids were seeing and stuff like that. They tightened it up because it was just a mess. It was just a mess. People will get to your children and try to program their mind so they're listening to this song that sounds so melodic and so beautiful, but the imagery is sickening. All right, people. That was me on my pop culture chat, y'all. Please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand. Y'all, mind your words, mind your advocacy, and mind your money. If you cannot be a help, do not be a hindrance. And make sure that we are protecting our children. We are mentoring our young folk, and we're not doing anything for harm. Okay? Please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell your coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.